Thank you, Dennis. I'm very excited to be here and share this really important topic. And I just want to start with this isn't only for moms that have teens struggling with mental health challenges, it's for any moms that have teens. And really, as I get into this talk, you'll realize that it's for anyone who wants to improve their communication with anybody. But yes, I mainly work with moms that have teens struggling with mental health challenges. So I'm going to start with an observation that I noticed and that kind of sent me down this path of making me realize what I was doing was not working and how I had to change. Have you ever looked at your teen, those of you that have teens or have had teens, and thought, where did my kid go? Where did that sweet little kid go?
Mm,
That was me a few years ago. My daughter at the time, she was 16. She had had mental health challenges. And at that time, it was during COVID too, she was going through a mental health crisis. And I'll always remember this day. It was kind of one of those moments that changed things for me and how I parented and just going down the path of learning what was not working and what I needed to do. I remember sitting on my bed that day, just feeling just paralyzed, heartbroken, alone, helpless, exhausted, and so worried about what to do to help my daughter because what I was doing was not working at all. And I knew in that moment that something had to change. I was not showing up for her in a way where I could help her. And at that time, she needed my support and help more than anything right now. And we were growing further and further apart because I realized that I was showing up in a very reactive way. And it was out of fear. It was out of fear because I was so worried about her. But the way I was showing up was making it worse for her because I was in a reactive, fearful energy the whole time. And I know this is so common for parents, especially moms, because we want to fix when our kids are struggling and they're in pain. It's so hard to see that, and we want to fix. But I learned through my own mistakes that real connection happens when our teens, all humans actually, but when our teens feel heard, valued, and understood, not when we're trying to fix. And that's when I realized how I was showing up. I had to change how I was showing up because I realized that nothing shuts the door faster than when we are lecturing, which I was doing, when we are jumping to advice, solutions, trying to fix, which I was doing all the time because I knew she was in pain. So I was trying to fix. I was trying to fix her. I was trying to fix the problem. Really, I just wanted someone to come in and tell me what to do, or I wanted some prescription, some therapy session that was going to change everything for her. But that's not how it works. Or I was minimizing, telling her that it's not so bad, it's okay. So I wasn't validating and listening to her, which is what she needed me to do. And that's when I realized what opens that door to communication, which is what we need so much, especially when our teens are struggling with mental health challenges. We need to be the person that they're able to come to. Is I needed to change how I was showing up. So my presence and being able to be calm. And when I mention the word calm, I'm not talking about like we're zen-like, not feeling any emotions. We still might be feeling really upset and worried, but it's how we're showing up. Are we in that reactive state, or have we learned some emotional regulation? So meaning we've learned that when we are feeling really upset, there's tools, and there's lots of tools we can use to help calm our nervous system. So taking us out of that reactive mode so that we're able to respond, so that we're able to be there grounded, calm, and present for our teen. And I also realize the importance of listening. And I know we all hear this, listen, but it's actually really hard to just listen, especially if our teens are sharing something because they're upset or they're struggling. And I was thinking about when was the last time that I really listened without jumping in and saying anything. And I've gotten a lot better at this. Like I do listen most of the time, but previous to that, I realized I had not listened at all to my teen without trying to jump in and solve and fix. So listening is so important because your teen has to feel heard before they feel safe to open up to you, especially if they're struggling. They have to know because they're in such high emotional state, and this can scare them, these big feelings, emotions that they're having. So they have to know that you are the safe person, that you are able to handle their emotions. So listening is key. You have to be able to listen. And this was a big skill for me. And then realizing that all feelings are valid. I didn't have to agree, but all their feelings are valid. And then validating. Validating is so important. So again, it wasn't agreeing necessarily about agreeing, but it was acknowledging her feelings. It was acknowledging her struggle, how she was feeling. And an example that I always use, I think a common example so many parents can resonate with is homework, right? So, or homework, something at school. So your teen comes home from a hard day at school. Maybe it was something that happened at school with peers, something with the teacher, something with some class, and they come home, and to you, it sounds like they're just complaining. But what this looks like when I started to actually apply what I teach other moms now, calm, listen, validate, is when my teen would come home sharing what had happened at school, what I saw or heard as complaining. I would put down anything I was doing, so making sure I was not multitasking, that my body language showed my teen I was listening with curiosity about what they had to say and fully listening, letting them vent, letting them get it all out, and then validating something as simple as saying, yeah, I can understand why that incident with your friend made you upset. That's really crappy. Or I can understand why you find that subject hard. Or I get why you don't see school as being useful right now. And right away, when you do this, you'll like watch your teen's body language. You'll instantly notice in their body language almost like their shoulders drop, like a relief almost that, oh hey, mom understands. She gets me, or dad understands. He gets me. He's listening to me. So I just noticed that when I did those three steps, communication started happening. My teen started being able to come to me and share what was going on. So that's when I realized that real conversations, they don't start with words. It's not about having the perfect words or the perfect script. It's first of all how we show up. How are we showing up? Because our and it all starts with our energy and how we're showing up. And so, how do we do that with our teens? How do we, especially if your teen is really struggling right now and you feel like you have been growing further apart and that communication is not happening and that's something that you want so much? So, how do you start? And that's when number one, calm, right? You can't connect with your teen if you're not able to show up calm and regulated. And there's many tools. One of my favorite tools is breathing exercises because we all have to breathe to live. So why not learn how to do it to help regulate your nervous system? So for me, I have found saying the word pause so when I feel myself in a really reactive state, and we can all feel it in our bodies when we're starting to get agitated and upset, I will say the word pause in my head, and then I will put a hand on my heart. If I'm by myself, if I'm right in front of my teen, I might not do that. But I'll say the word pause, take a deep, slow breath, inhale, exhale. So this is maybe 5 seconds, and even that 5 seconds will help to take me out of that reactive mode because that's where we end up saying or doing something we regret later on. So 5, 6 seconds to take me out of that reactive mode and into my what's called your parasympathetic mode. That's when we're able to be rational, access that higher level thinking, which is what we want to do in order to show up for our teens. And this is the part of the brain that our teens really struggle with, that prefrontal cortex. So we need to be that part for our teens. So, and right away, then, when I do the pause and the breath, I can feel my whole body relax. And then listen. That's when I will listen. So, putting my phone down, looking at my teen, my body language shows, hey, I want to hear you. I care about what you have to say. I'm curious about what you have to say. And then validate. That's the third step. That's when, after your teen has shared whatever they have to say, and again, you don't have to agree with it. It's just saying, yeah, that makes sense. I understand. I can see why you feel that way. Yeah, that must be really hurtful. And then the last step is respond. But I have found a lot of times with my teens, I don't even have to respond. A lot of times, like all of us, all they want is to feel heard and supported. And if you need to, or if it comes to that next step, respond, because your teen is asking you for advice or solutions. And most of the time, they're not. But it's still not about telling them what to do. So, how I look at respond is responding with curiosity, not responding with telling them what they should or shouldn't do. So, that might sound like, if my teen is the example of homework, right, or school, something's happened at school. So, after I've listened to them, validated, I might then respond with something, how can I support you right now? Or I find with my teens, a really good one is, what's your plan? Or what do you think would be a good solution for this? Because that gets them coming up with their own plan and solution. So, first of all, there's a lot more buy-in when they take responsibility for their own solution. And I also find that's what makes them feel really capable, knowing that, hey, I can come up with my own plan and solution. And sometimes I'm amazed at the plan or solutions that my teens come up with. That's something I never would have thought of. And it ends up being really amazing and working out for them. And if not, then they've tried it and come up with something else. So, few months ago, after I had gone through the calm, listen, validate, I hadn't even responded. My daughter actually said to me, and she had never said this previously, she actually said, thanks, Mom, for just listening. And that felt so good to know that I had been there to just listen to her, and her knowing that she could come back to me because she knew that I was a safe place and a safe person to be able to come to. And I just want you to ask yourself, like, think of the last time, hopefully it was recently for you, that you felt really heard and really listened to. It's amazing, isn't it? Like, it's a basic need that we all want and need as human beings, to feel heard, valued, and understood. So I think of that also as the greatest gift you can give your teen and another human being, to really hear them, to really listen to them, to make them feel understood. So, as I wrap up this part here, I just want to reiterate that real conversations don't need the perfect words or script. They just start with your energy, with being calm, grounded, and then listening with an open heart, empathy, and being curious. Being curious instead of judgmental. So often when our teens share stuff with us, right away we're being judgmental. So be curious about it. That completely changes your energy when you're going being curious instead of judgmental. And when you change how you show up, watch everything else begin to shift.